Yeah. So let's start, guys. So continuing the yesterday's class. So if the exception occurs either in the except block or finally block, then what will be the scenario? What type of termination will that be?
Abnormal termination.
Abnormal termination, right? So so we have seen different scenarios of try except finally. We have discussed the flow, right? So fine. So now let's see the nested try except finally. Okay. So let's start. Okay. So as I said, so now we have studied try except finally. Okay. So this is a set. Okay, this is a set, and order is important. Okay, we are going to see some rules about the order, but remember order is important. Okay, now this set we can also use in the nested format. That means let's say you are having try. Inside try you can have one more try except. Okay, and coming out you can have except. Okay, so you are having try except. So this try is related to this except, and this try is sorry, this try is related to this except. Okay, fine. So now there is a important point over here. So when you're writing this way, let's say it has entered this try. Okay, after that no exceptions, then it has entered this try. Okay, if at all an exception occurs in this try, inner try. Okay, if inside inner try if an exception occurs, then inner except block is responsible to handle. Okay, inner except block is responsible to handle. Okay, then only if this is not able to handle, then the outer exception will come into the picture. Okay, guys, you are having try some statement. Inside this try, you are having a try except. So that means what? Try also you will have something, except also you will have something. Okay, so we are speaking of the nested. So I think you are good with the normal flow of the try except finally, right? So yesterday we have seen like in every given case, finally will be running, right? In some cases, except might run, except might not run, and a single except handling multiple exceptions. So those things have we have covered. So I think you are good with that, right? So now we are having try except, and let's say we are having except. Okay, so now the point over here is, so the point over here is these are in pairs. Okay, it means this try except are one pair, and this try except are one pair. Okay, so let's say the control is started over here in this try, no exceptions. Fine. So then it will enter this try. And let's say if at all there is an exception over here. So initially this inner exception, okay, the inner try exception should be handled by the inner except block. Okay, initially. If at all this is also failing, okay, if this is unable to handle, then outer exception is responsible to handle that. Okay. Okay, fine. So let's see code so that you will understand in a better way. Okay, yeah. So if you see here, see, try to understand. So we are having try. Yeah. So you're having try inside the try except finally and except finally, right? So what's this? As I said, the combination you can have in any inside anything. So that means that try except for simplicity, let me write TEF. Okay, try except finally. You can put this combination inside one try. Okay, and except and finally. So you're putting one combination in try except finally, or you can put the whole thing inside this except also, or you can put in final also. So any combination is fine. Okay, So now here what I'm doing, I'm putting try except finally inside actual try except finally. So actual try except finally is this, but I'm putting one try except finally inside the try of the actual try except finally. Okay. So now as I said, so this will be one pair and this will be one pair. Okay. So now see what's going to print. First, high outer block is getting printed. Okay, high outer block is getting printed, right? So because guys, so today's session, so we are going to see different scenarios. Okay, a lot of scenarios, and you are the people who are going to answer that. I'm not going to say that. Okay, because the foundation is here. So listen this carefully and let me know if you are having any doubts. Suppose that let's see a few questions. Okay, so first initially high outer try block is printing. Okay, fine, there's no exception over here, so obviously it will enter here, it will enter inside. Okay, so next what we are having, high inner block, fine, sorry, high inner try block. Okay, fine, it has entered. After that there is an exception occurring here, 10 by 0 exception. What is that exception? Zero division exception. Okay, the moment it is seeing the zero division exception, okay, so obviously it will search for the inner except initially. Hey, do I have any zero division error exception to handle? Yes, the inner exception is having that. Okay, now you are having this, so it will enter what, it will enter inside because it is able to handle. Okay, I am inner except block. Okay, I am inner except block. Okay, so after that what it is going to happen, so if I, yeah, so after that 10 by I. Okay, so in 10 by I, it is going into hi I am finally. Okay, so but it here when I'm printing 10 by I, so this should, so I think this is because of the kernel issue. Let me just restart one second. Um, okay, so sometimes whenever you are having uh if there are some, okay, so one second, if I remove this, yeah, so obviously it is coming over here, then it is coming over here, there is an exception occurring, and then it is entering uh, over here, and then where it is going, then it is going to the inner finally block. Okay, inner finally block, and then it is printing what again. Okay, and then what it is printing, it is printing high outer finally block. Okay, but high, but if at all you are having this, okay, you are okay, you are getting this, fine. Yeah, so there is one thing you need to observe over here. Okay, so first thing and second thing, see, initially if at all you are having an exception in the try block, obviously it is going into this except block. Okay, it is going into the except block, fine. So in the nested try except finally, okay, so if you are having, if you are having an, what is this exception over here in this. Okay, so and if you have a corresponding except block, okay, if you have a corresponding except block, okay, so 10 by I, what it will give, it will give an type error, right? So in type error you have something to handle over here. Okay, so it will come and run this high outer except block. So initially, see, this gets printed, fine, this gets printed, fine, exception happened, come inside, this gets printed. Okay, there is exception happening here, but in this is child except, and there is a corresponding parent except to handle this, right? So what it will do, obviously finally should run always, so it will run this, it will run this, correct, and then to handle this exception it will enter this. Okay, to enter this, and here you are having high outer except block, it is printing that, and finally it is printing high outer finally block. Okay, So, but the same thing, if I remove this, okay, if I remove this, as you can see, it will skip entering this because there is no exception happening over here. So it don't need to enter this. Okay. So for example, see, so here it has printed what? It has printed the outer, it has printed the inner, see, outer, inner. And after that, it has entered here because you got an exception. It has entered here. I'm inner except block. Okay. Then the next, you have got an exception over here, 10 by I. So that is a type error. Okay. So it will check if the corresponding parent except can handle that. Okay. But no, it cannot handle. So what's happening? It is terminating over here with abnormal termination. Okay. It is terminating over here with abnormal termination. And after that, they are fine. So even though there is an abnormal termination, the important point is what you got an abnormal termination over here. Okay, but still high inner finally block again, both the thing from the finally got executed, and also the finally from the actual parent finally got also got executed. Even though there is an abnormal termination that is happening in the inner except block, still inner finally statements and outer finally statements both are getting executed, right? So that's the advantage of finally. As we discussed yesterday, finally will get executed in all scenarios, right? But the important point over here is, as I said, if an exception occurs, okay, if an exception occurs in the inner try block, first it will try to check in the inner except it is handling, okay, otherwise it will go into the outer except. Okay, but in the nested try except finally, if at all you have an exception in the inner except, okay, so it will try if the outer except is able to handle. Okay, if it is able to handle, that's fine. Okay, if not, then it will directly give an abnormal termination. Okay, but normally, see, normally we don't write anything that will lead to exception in the except block. Okay, so this is some special case. Okay, normally, because why we are writing this? Because the code which we want to execute, we will write it in the try block. Okay, I'm just showing you the like all possible scenarios. Okay, but actually in when you're writing something, what why did people invent try except finally? Because whatever you want to write in the try block, just in case if some exception it is occurring. So just to notify you, to make you understand, write some statements, print statements. Okay, finally you will write in finally. Okay, in just in case if this is not executing, this is not executing, just to make sure that you want to see something definitely 100%, so you will write over here. Okay, so let's stick to exceptions happening in the try block only. Okay, fine. So now, as I said, if at all there is an, okay, so now fine. So see, so let me say I will put this over here. Okay, and I will say this over here. Okay, so now see what I said, in if an exception occurs in the inner try block, first it will check the inner except. If it is handling, fine. If it is not handling, then it will go to the outer except. Okay, so same thing is happening over here, right? As you can see, first high outer block, okay, next high inner block. Okay, then here some exception happened. Okay, what exception? Zero division error. So it will check for inner except. Is this zero division error? No, it is not, so it will not enter. So that's why you cannot see this getting printed. But however, this high finally again gets printed, high finally again gets printed. But this zero division is able to get, is getting handled by what? Here. That's why it will enter here, high outer and finally high final. Is this clear, guys? Everyone? Or is there any like even 1% confusion also? Let me know.
Clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. I'm curious. Oh, like when we are answering questions. Cool. So now then, yeah. So if at all, as you said, you are clear. Okay, I will write this. Okay, I'll just write this. Now, what will be the output? First.
Same.
Just give me a second, or you put your answer in chat. Just give me a second. Let me have some water. Yeah, guys, tell me what will be the output.
Mm, Subnormal termination, right, Santosh?
Huh?
Abnormal termination, right?
What?
High outer block, then it will print inner try block,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a name 10 by 0.
Mm-hmm.
So for that, it's not, we are not handling that. Anyway, in between, finally will print high inner finally again,
Mm-hmm.
as well as when it comes to it search for exception except but in the above name error and in the below also we don't have anything. So it will abnormally terminate. I mean that's what I'm thinking. Don't have any.
Okay, but but uh, yeah, looks like others don't want to answer. It's fine. See, but Karthik, yesterday I was saying, if at all you don't know what exception will occur, you can have a default exception, right?
Yeah, default we can direct. Yes.
Then obviously what it will do, first it will check in the inner except. If it is handling, it's fine. If not, then it will go to the outer except. Outer
Outer.
except is not any specific, it's default. That means it will handle everything.
Okay.
Okay, default
Okay.
means what? It will handle everything. So
Yes, I
obviously,
thought.
yeah.
Okay.
So outer, inner, then it will not enter here. Okay.
Yes. Finally,
Then finally again, then what? Outer except
final.
final. Okay. So if I remove this now,
It will print I am inner except block finally, and it will skip for that except because
outer
it's
except.
already handled. Yeah.
Correct. Okay. So it will skip the outer except. Is this clear, guys? Sirisha is saying something. I think it is similar to division error. What division error, Sirisha?
Previous one, sir.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but is this
In,
example clear? Is this example clear?
yes, sir.
Meghana, now what it will print?
Try block.
Okay.
I'm inner except block. Inner try block. Inner except block. Finally. Outer finally.
This one.
Yeah, that one also. Again.
Okay. So let me delete that. Okay. So if I have it in the both places. Okay, now
We'll take first one. Once it is handled, it will not again check for the condition.
okay. Now
Abnormal termination.
where?
Print 10.
In which line abnormal termination?
Print 10/0.
Okay. Okay. But finally block will run or not?
Yes, sir. Finally, block will run.
Okay. Fine. Looks like you understood the concept. So now we'll see different scenarios. Okay. So be ready, guys, to answer. Okay. So fine. See, first thing, let me give a scenario. Okay. So let's say you have try. Okay. And statement one, statement two, statement three. Okay. And inside that you have try, statement four, statement five, statement six. Okay. Okay. Let me write except. This is except statement 7. Okay. And this is finally statement 8, statement 9. Okay. And to this except statement 10. Okay. And in finally statement 11. Oh, it's not. Okay. Okay. Just give me a second. Okay. Fine. Can you see? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. So consider this. Okay. So consider this. So here, if you have, yeah. So let me ask you a few questions. Okay. If at all there is no exception, okay, first thing, if at all no exception, okay, no exception, then what will run? Okay. So actually this, while taking screenshot, this got moved, but assume these are over here. Okay. Assume these are over here. So this is statement 9. Okay. And this is statement 12. Okay. So just assume that. Okay. Fine. So first thing, so let's start, guys. So initially, if at all, first no exception, no exception, then what all will run? See, be careful, guys. So we are giving multiple scenarios. So apart from this, there is no need for you to see any other scenarios. Okay, so we are going to cover almost all the scenarios so that you will be able to write any type of nested or normal try block, try except finally block. Okay, so be alert. So even if some guy, some others also answering, so make sure that you are understanding. If you are not understanding, just let me know. Okay, So fine. So first scenario, if there is no exception, yeah. So what will be the just tell me the numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. So what statements it will execute? What statements will it be printed? Be fast, guys. We need to have cover.
Except 7 and 10 all will execute.
Except 7 and 10. Okay. Except 7 and 10. So you're saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It will not, it will skip this. And 8, 9, you are saying, okay, it will skip this, 11, 12. Okay, perfect. So now, if at all you are having an, yeah, exception at, I'll write it like this, okay, exception at 2, okay, and you have corresponding except block. Then, so exception occurred at 2, and there is corresponding except block. Now tell me.
Corresponding expect block at X or Y, sir.
Sorry? Sorry, what you said? Okay, and also I think you should say whether it is a normal termination or not. Okay, whether it is a normal termination or not. Okay, let's follow that. Yeah, you're saying something?
There is no corresponding exception error, sir, in X or Y.
Sorry, I'm saying if at all you have an exception, yeah, exception is occurring here, and there is corresponding except block that is matching.
Corresponding exception at X or corresponding exception at Y.
Yeah, so that's the point you need to understand. Okay, so in the for the parent block, child except block cannot handle. Okay, fine. If child is getting problem, parent can solve. Okay, but if parent is getting block problem, right? It did not enter here only. It did not enter here, so it will not. It will not aware of all these scenarios. It is aware of only this except. Okay, so ఇక్కడ మనకి ఏమన్నా ఎక్సెప్షన్ వస్తే ఓకే ఇన్సైడ్ వన్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎంటరింగ్ దిస్ ట్రై వన్స్ ఇట్ హస్ ట్రిగర్డ్ దిస్ ట్రై ఒకసారి ట్రై చూస్తే then it will understand okay there is one more except there is one more finally it will understand this pair and లోపల మనకి ఏమైనా ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ ప్రాబ్లం వస్తే then సారీ ఇక్కడ ఏమైనా ప్రాబ్లం వస్తే then it will think I have child except if not I will go for parent except okay but if outside మనకి ఇక్కడే ఎర్రర్ వస్తే it did not see this it did not see this try ఈ ట్రై చూడకపోతే all this is not in this in its picture okay so if at all there are any exceptions that are occurring in the parent try only parent except is responsible sorry but if at all there are any exceptions happening inside inner nested try except finally then initially it will check inner if not outer is anyhow present okay but if it is occurring outer so obviously it did not enter here so it is not having any knowledge of this so this is not responsible okay guys is that clear no
Yes.
okay now tell me if at all you're having exception over here and there is a corresponding so when I'm saying see when I'm saying that there is an exception occurring in the parent try and I'm saying there is a corresponding exception block so obviously it should be parent except okay is it clear Sirisha అర్థమైందా Sirisha
అర్థమైంది, sir.
okay fine so now tell me if you have an exception over here in S2 and you have corresponding except block so what statements it will run
1, 10, 11, 12.
okay so as I said you need to tell two things so one is numbers
Okay, it's an abnormal, normal termination.
okay and the termination okay two things you should say Okay, fine. I'll write it here. Okay, fine. So you're saying 1, 10, 11, 12 normal termination, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is correct. Fine. I hope others also good with that. So if you're not, you can raise a question. Okay, fine. So third thing is the be little fast, guys. Third thing is exception at statement 2. Okay, so if you're getting confused with this number, so let's just so now exception at S2, okay, and no corresponding except block. No except block. Okay, I'll write like this. No except block. If there's, I'll put a tick mark. Okay, so exception at S2, and there is no corresponding except block. Now,
1, 11, 12 abnormal termination.
okay, 1, 11, 12 abnormal termination. Okay, superb. That's correct. Okay, so now others, we are going good, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now exception at S5. Let's see. Karthik, what if exception at S5 and inner except block matching? Inner except matching. So now,
So now it will print 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2, 3, 4,
Hmm.
and 5 is there. So it's matching. Yeah, 7, 8, 9. 11, 12.
Okay, what's termination?
Sorry, it's normal termination.
Okay, so others, you understood, right? So 1, 2, 3 exception is occurring 5. So 4 will print. It is getting error. So inner error matching. So it will come here. It will print 7. So after that, finally, anyhow, it should print. Okay, 8, 9, and then you will have this finally printed. Okay, cool. So, but if you have observed, there is one scenario where this finally did not execute, because when it did not enter this try except finally, then this finally is not executed. Initially, when you saw there is an exception occurring over here in S2, right? If an exception is occurring at S2, so obviously the command is going directly from here to here, right? So it did not enter that inner try except finally. So obviously this finally did not run at that time. Okay, I want that point to be very clear, right? So once it enters a try except finally block, then whatever be the scenario of the exception handling, not handling, abnormal, obviously the final will run. Okay, but if it is not entering itself, because when an exception is occurring above this try block itself, above the nested try block, then the control is directly going away from it and go and coming out of this finally, right? See, the control is coming out of this finally to this outer except. So obviously it is not entering here, so it will not print this finally also. Okay, I hope that is clear, because you might be an impression that finally is going to run always. So yes, that is always, but when once if it is enters its corresponding try, okay, at least it should trigger this try. Only when it's triggered try, then it will have knowledge of this pair, then it will run for any situation. Okay, but if it is not entering itself, this whole concept of this try is absent now, because the control is going out of this except. Okay, guys. Okay, fine. So now if at all you have an exception, yeah, let's see Meghana. Okay, so if at all exception occurred at statement 5, okay, okay, inner except not match, but outer except matching. Now, Meghana, exception occurred
One,
here, inner except not matching, outer except matching. Yeah, tell me.
1, 2, 3,
1, 2, 3,
4,
4,
8, 9,
8, 9,
10, 10, 11, 12,
10, 11, 12.
Normal termination.
Normal termination. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, normal termination. Okay, perfect. Now, right, so if I'm asking Megan, that doesn't mean only she, but if, as I said, if others are having any issues, just raise me for each question. Okay. So now, let's see, Siri, if you have exception at, statement 5, okay, both inner and outer except not match. Siri, what will be the answer? Exception occurring at 5, both inner and outer except not match.
1, 2, 3, 4,
1, 2, 3, 4,
8, 9,
8, 9,
11, 12.
11, 12.
Exception raised at 5, abnormal termination.
Abnormal termination. Super. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 raised at here. So it will check here. No, nothing there. So it will print this 8, 9. Okay. It is also not matching 11, 12, but exception raised. That's why it is abnormal termination. Super. Okay. Now, um, Karthik, if exception occurred at statement 7, okay, exception occurred at statement 7, and there is corresponding except, and there is corresponding except block, right? Because as we have seen, we can have an exception inside the except block also, right? We have seen example, we can have the exception inside the except of the inner except block, and it will check if at all the outer except block is handling all that, right? I'm just revising the concept. Fine. So Karthik, now what if we have an exception at S7 and there is a corresponding except block is matching, then
So corresponding except match is block. I mean matching inside that except or outside.
no, see, if an exception is occurring inside except, how its own except will match? Are you understanding? If an exception is occurring here, how it can match to itself?
Can you please repeat the question?
I'm saying if an exception is occurring at statement 7 here, and there is a
Okay.
corresponding except block, then what are the statements are going to run? You are saying which except block, but I am asking if exception is occurring inside except block, how the same except block can handle this, because it has already passed this, it is inside.
Yes. Okay. Then statement 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and exception is at statement 7. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, normal termination. So exceptions handling.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 exception is happening over here, and obviously it will print these two. That's why 9, 8, 9, and it is able to handle. Okay, so that's why 10, 11, 12 normal termination. Okay, cool, perfect. So now, if Meghana, so if you have exception at 7 and corresponding except block not matching, then
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 11, 12, abnormal termination.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Yeah, that's correct answer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So exception happening over here. There is no matching over here. So, but it will print finally, it will not enter this. It will enter this. Okay, that's it.
Sir, I have a doubt here.
Okay, I will erase this. Okay, let me. Yeah, ask.
If అంటే ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్ లో ఎర్రర్ వచ్చింది అని తెలవాలంటే మనం ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్ లో ఎంటర్ అయితేనే తెలుస్తుంది కదా సార్.
అవును.
అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ మనకి పైన మన ఎక్సెప్షన్స్ రేజ్ అయితే మనం ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్ లోకి వెళ్తేనే తెలుస్తుందా, లేకపోతే ఇందులో ఎర్రర్ ఉన్నా కూడా మనకి ఏం సంబంధం ఉండదు?
ఓకే, కరెక్ట్. ఐ అండర్స్టూడ్ పాయింట్. సో అసలు దీంట్లోకి రావాలి అంటే ఇక్కడ ఏమి ఇష్యూ లేకపోతే ఇక్కడికి ఎలా వస్తుంది అంటున్నాం.
ఎస్ సార్.
కరెక్ట్. యా, దట్ ఈస్ పర్ఫెక్ట్. దట్ ఈస్ 100% కరెక్ట్. సో ఇక్కడ క్వశ్చన్ దీని అర్థం ఏంటంటే వెన్ ఐఎమ్ సేయింగ్ స్టేట్మెంట్ 7 లో ఎక్సెప్షన్ వస్తుంది అంటే అసలు ఈ స్టేట్మెంట్ 7 లోపలికి రావాలి అంటే ఈ ఎక్సెప్షన్ అనేది ట్రిగర్ కావాలి. ఈ ఎక్సెప్షన్ అనేది ట్రిగర్ కావాలి అంటే ఏమైతుంది, ఇక్కడ ఏదైనా ఎక్సెప్షన్ వచ్చిందని అర్థం. ఓకే, ఇక్కడ ఏదైనా ఎక్సెప్షన్ వస్తే ఇది దీని లోపలికి ఎంటర్ అయితే ఓకే, అప్పుడు ఇక్కడ సినారియో గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నాం. యాక్చువల్గా నువ్వు అడిగింది కరెక్ట్. అది ఓవరాల్ సినారియోలో ఏమవుతుంది, ఇక్కడ ఏదైనా ఇష్యూ వచ్చింది ఓకే మనకి ఈ ట్రైలో ఇక్కడ 1/0 నేను చేస్తున్నా. ఓకే, 1/0 చేసినప్పుడు నేను ఇఫ్ ఐఎమ్ గెట్టింగ్ అన్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఓవర్ హియర్ అని అంటే దాని అర్థం ఏంటి, దీని లోపలికి ఎంటర్ అయినట్టే కదా. దీని లోపలికి ఎంటర్ అవుతుంది అని అంటే ఇక్కడ ఏదైతే ఎక్సెప్షన్ వచ్చిందో అది దీంతో మ్యాచ్ అవుతుంది అన్నట్టు అర్థం. అంటే ఇక్కడ 0 డివిజన్ వస్తుంది కదా, అంటే ఇక్కడ కూడా. సో ఐఎమ్ డిస్కసింగ్ దట్ సినారియో. ఓకే, ఈ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ సినారియో ఏంటంటే ఇక్కడ 1/0 ఉంది అంటే ఇక్కడ 0 ఎక్సెప్షన్ వచ్చింది, ఇక్కడ కూడా ఇది కూడా 0 ఉంటే సో ఆబ్వియస్లీ ఏమవుతుంది, సో ఇనీషియల్గా ఈ ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్ కోసం చెక్ చేస్తుంది కదా. సో ఇక్కడ మ్యాచ్ అయింది కదా, దాని లోపలికి వచ్చింది కదా. ఇక్కడ వరకు క్లియరా?
ఎస్ సార్, క్లియర్.
ఒకవేళ ఇక్కడ మళ్ళీ నేను సమ్ 1 ఐఎమ్ జస్ట్ సేయింగ్ 1 ఓకే, నేను బై మిస్టేక్ లో యాక్చువల్గా ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్ లో మనము ఎక్సెప్షన్ వచ్చేవి ఏం రాయం. బట్ నా ఉద్దేశం ఏంటంటే ఇలా రాదాం అనుకున్నా, ప్రింట్ ఆఫ్ డోంట్ ప్రింట్ 1/0. ఓకే, అది కోడ్స్ లో అది యాక్చువల్గా ఇట్లా స్ట్రింగ్స్ లో పెట్టి ఇట్లా చూపిద్దాం అనుకున్నా యూజర్ కి, హే యూఆర్ డూయింగ్ ఎ మిస్టేక్, డోంట్ ప్రింట్ 1/0 అని చెప్పి. బట్ డ్యూ టు సమ్ మిస్టేక్ నేను ఈ కోడ్స్ అనేది తీసేసిన అనుకో, ఇక్కడ మళ్ళీ ఇష్యూ వస్తుంది కదా 1/0 లాగా, ఇది కూడా ఇష్యూ కదా. సో ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ అరేజ్ అయింది కదా, మనకి ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్ లో ఒక ఎక్సెప్షన్ అరేజ్ అయింది కదా.
ఎస్ సార్.
ఓకే, సో కరెక్ట్. నువ్వు అడిగిన పాయింట్ ఏంటంటే అసలు ఇక్కడ ఇష్యూ రాకపోతే ఇక్కడికి ఎందుకు వస్తాం. సో ఈ సినారియో ఏంటంటే వెన్ ఐఎమ్ సేయింగ్ you are getting an exception inside the except block, so the inner meaning already you got some exception above that which allowed it to enter inside this. If you're not getting any exception above this, obviously it will not enter. So let's but the assumption you should make here is when I'm saying that it is entering inside, that means whatever exception you are getting here, that is directly matching with this, that then only this gates will open and it will enter here. Okay, but now once it is entering inside this, if you are getting an exception inside this, if it is an exception, then what's the scenario? Okay, so
Okay sir.
the point is that. Okay, but that's a good question. Actually, that's a good question, right? So I hope others understood, right, what Meghana was saying.
Yeah, Santosh.
Okay, because I not except what do you say, especially mentioning that when I'm saying, okay, suppose when I'm saying that, hey, it is, see, if at all ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వచ్చింది అన్నాను అనుకో, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇక్కడ ఈ అవుటర్ బ్లాక్ లో ఎక్సెప్షన్ వచ్చింది అని అంటే వాట్ ఆల్ దేర్ కుడ్ బి పాసిబుల్ సినారియోస్. సో ఐఎమ్ జస్ట్ టెలింగ్ ద లాస్ట్ స్టేట్మెంట్, బట్ ఇంటర్నల్లీ యూ షుడ్ అండర్స్టాండ్, ఇఫ్ ఐ సే హే ఐఎమ్ గెటింగ్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఓవర్ హియర్, దట్ మీన్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎంటరింగ్ దిస్ అనే కదా అర్థం. In which cases this can enter here, Meghana? There is first, if at all ఈ 3 statements లో ఏమన్నా exception వస్తే it will directly enter here. Agree?
Yes sir.
Okay, that is one scenario. Or ఈ 3 statements are fine. If at all you are getting any exception over here 4 5 6, okay, ఈ 4 5 6 లో ఏమైనా ఇష్యూ వస్తే, and if it is unable, and if this exception is unable to handle, okay, ఆ సినారియోలో కూడా again it will come and enter here. Agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but if it is handling, if an exception occurring here and if it is handling, then fine, it will skip this. But if this is failing, this inner except is failing, obviously it will come outside and it will enter here. Okay, so it will enter, right? In different scenarios it might enter, so I'm not going into the scenarios how it can enter. So I am speaking about the scenario after entering. If an exception occurs, what is the case? Okay, fine. I hope your doubt is resolved. Okay, fine. So now we have seen what we have seen this one, right? Okay, so now Siri, can you let me know, you have said except not block, right? Except not in this scenario, what is the termination, Meghna? I forgot what you said, normal or abnormal?
Abnormal, sir.
Okay, correct. So now Siri, exception occurring at statement 8, okay, and there is corresponding except block. There is corresponding except block. Now Sirisha,
Yeah, sir.
tell sir.
1 2 3
Okay,
4 5 6
okay,
eight 9
okay,
9 10 11 12. Exception అక్కడ రాయబోతున్నాయి.
and what's the termination?
Normal termination.
Normal termination, right? And in the same scenario, if at all, okay, if at all in the same scenario, if you have exception at S8, okay, and corresponding there is no except block, then
There is no exception.
then you'll have
1
2 3 4 5
5
6, then exception is occurring at 8, right?
directly 9 sorry directly 11 12.
Exception is occurring at what? 8, and then it will go to
There is no
11,
corresponding 11 and 12.
and
It is an abnormal
non
termination.
termination. Okay, fine. So, and I hope it's clear for others also. Okay, it's the same scenario. Like when you are getting exception inside except, you can also get exception inside finally also, right? Same scenario it will apply. So if you're getting exception inside this, similar you can get exception inside this also, right? And same thing, it will check the this except block. Okay, just like how we are handle the this one. Okay, so after that, we can see one more scenario. Karthik, if the exception occurs as statement 9 and this there is corresponding except block, then can you tell me? Karthik? Okay. Meghana, would you like to attempt this? Exception occurring at statement 9 and there is a corresponding except block.
1 2 3 4 5 6 8, 10, 11, 12.
Okay.
Normal termination.
Normal termination. Okay. And if I just change this to exception not matching, then
It will not print 10 and abnormal termination.
abnormal termination. Perfect. Okay. Cool, guys. Looks like you got good understanding of this. So there are just one point. So now here it is. If an exception raises at 10, right? If an exception raises at 10, yeah. Can someone attempt this? If an exception occurs here, then anyone? Sirisha?
Sir, except 10th statement, all will be.
All?
No,
4?
no, 5, 6.
Hmm?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay. Why 4, 5, 6 will run? Do you agree, Meghana?
Yes, sir, I agree.
Why?
Exception may occur at 4, 5, 6 also, yes, sir.
Okay, but I did not say that. I said it is entering this.
Exception at parent except class, no, sir. It will
Ah.
enter into the inner try block, no.
నేను చెప్పినా ఇన్నర్ ట్రై బ్లాక్ లోని
ఆహా ఎక్సెప్షన్ మనకి
Why?
పేరెంట్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్ లో అవుతుంది కదా సార్ ఫస్ట్ ఇవన్నీ స్టేట్మెంట్ చెక్ చేసి వెళ్తుంది కదా సార్
ఒకవేళ ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వస్తే
అక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వస్తే డైరెక్ట్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ ట్రై ఎక్సెప్ట్
ఏం
పేరెంట్
ఎక్సెప్ట్ ఇక్కడ 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 ఇష్యూ వస్తే ఇప్పుడు ఎక్కడికి వెళ్తుంది కంట్రోల్
10th వై ఎక్సెప్ట్ వై
అప్పుడు ఇవి స్కిప్ అయితే కదా
ఎస్ సార్
ఓకే ఫైన్ సో సరే ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వచ్చింది విల్ సి 2 సినారియోస్ ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వచ్చింది సో టు కమ్ ఇంటూ దిస్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ వై దేర్ ఆర్ 2 సినారియోస్ ఉంటాయి కదా సో ఎక్సెప్ట్ వై ఫస్ట్ కేసులో ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎంటరింగ్ ఇంటూ దిస్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ వై డ్యూ టు ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఓవర్ హియర్ స్టేట్మెంట్ 2 లో ఎక్సెప్షన్ వచ్చింది అందుకు ఇక్కడ ఎంటర్ అయింది నౌ టెల్ మీ వాట్ ఆల్ ఇట్ విల్ రన్
1 ఎక్సెప్షన్ మ్యాచింగ్ సార్
మ్యాచింగ్
1 10 11 12
అండ్
నార్మల్ టర్మినేషన్
ఓకే ఒకవేళ మ్యాచింగ్ కాకపోతే
మ్యాచింగ్ కాకపోతే 1 11 12 అబ్నార్మల్ టర్మినేషన్
ఓకే ఒకవేళ ఇది ఎంటర్ అయ్యేది 5 దగ్గర వచ్చింది అప్పుడు ఎంటర్ అయింది ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వచ్చింది ఓకే సో ఈ సినారియోలో కూడా జస్ట్ ఇఫ్ స్విచ్ బ్యాక్ ఒక స్టెప్ వెనుకకి వెళ్తే ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వచ్చింది ఇక్కడికి వచ్చింది ఓకే అండ్ ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వచ్చింది అప్పుడు వాట్ ఇట్ విల్ రన్ సి ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఇక్కడ వచ్చింది ఇది ఎంటర్ అయింది ఇక్కడ ఒక ఎక్సెప్షన్ వచ్చింది ఇప్పుడు
then abnormal termination.
నో టెల్ మీ లైన్స్ అండ్
Okay. 110
10 will not
uh,
print.
11 12 abnormal termination.
10 will not print, sir.
స్టేట్మెంట్ 10 కింద నా లేకపోతే స్టేట్మెంట్ 10 లోనేనా
కరెక్ట్ ఓకే అండర్స్టాండ్ ఇక్కడ రాస్తే I thought it's below this. Okay, if it is below this, okay. At statement 10 only, okay. Consider if it is at statement 10 only.
if the statement 10 directly then 1 11 12 abnormal termination.
Okay, fine. So now, if it is entering from here, from statement 5, there is an exception. This is not matching. This is matching. Here also, 10 also one exception. Now,
Okay, not matching, right? So 1 2 3
Hmm.
4
Hmm.
8, 9. Matching it exception y, right? So 10, 11, 12.
బట్ ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వచ్చింది అన్నా కదా.
Okay, again, okay, అక్కడ కూడా exception ఉందా? Then entering into the, then there is no 10, directly 11, 12 abnormal termination.
Okay, cool. So fine. So you should observe one point from last 3 questions. So if you observe, whatever be the root, it is entering here, and if it is facing an exception here, okay, ఇది ఇక్కడ నుంచి వచ్చినా ఇక్కడ నుంచి వచ్చినా ఇక్కడ నుంచి వచ్చినా, if at all there is an exception is happening here, if an exception is happening in the parent except block, ante exception is happening ante assuming that it is already entered, okay, it has entered inside this, and if an exception is happening here, then it is always and always abnormal termination, okay. But only thing is, before abnormal termination, it will execute these statements also, okay, because these are final, okay. It will execute 11, 12, and then abnormal termination. Always it will be abnormal termination. You should not have any doubts, because inside the outer except block you are having, so there is nobody to come and help. Obviously it will die, okay. Is this clear, guys?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Fine. And if at all you have similarly, if at all you have an exception occurring inside the parent finally block, okay, if at all you have an exception occurring in the 10 or 11 statement, okay, ikkada edana exception vachindi anko, if this statement is giving an exception, okay, then always and always this is an abnormal termination. Always and always this is an abnormal termination, okay. Ikkada even exception vachina kuda always and always this is an exception, abnormal termination, because there is nobody to handle that, okay. So I hope that is clear, okay. So these are the different scenarios. So ivi minchi మీరు యూజ్ చేయాల్సినది అవసరం ఏది రాదు ఇన్ యువర్ హోల్ ఐటీ కెరియర్, ఓకే. సో ఇవి కూడా యూజ్ చేయాలి చెప్పాలంటే. సో జస్ట్ ఐమ్ కవరింగ్ ఆల్ ద పాసిబుల్ సినేరియోస్. సో నార్మల్ గా అట్మోస్ట్ యూ విల్ యూస్ ట్రై ఎక్సెప్ట్ ఫైనలీ యూ యూస్, ఓకే, దట్స్ ఇట్. నెక్స్ట్ కూడా రేర్ గా యూజ్ చేస్తారు, బట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఆల్వేస్ గుడ్, బికాస్ మీరు ఏదైనా స్క్రిప్ట్ చదువుతున్న గిట్ హబ్ లో వేరే వాళ్ళది అర్థం చేసుకోవాలన్నా, ఇఫ్ ఎట్ ఆల్ యూ కమ్ అక్రాస్, యూ షుడ్ హ్యావ్ basic knowledge, right? But one important note I am repeating again, if the control entered into try block, okay, if the control entered into try block, okay, it should compulsorily execute its corresponding finally block, okay. But if the control not entered into try block, for example this try block, then the finally block won't be executed, okay. This is an important statement, because normally nenu finally compulsory ante you might get a false impression that ఏ సినారియోలో అయినా ఫైనల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతుంది అనుకుంటారేమో అని ఐఎమ్ ప్రెసింగ్ దిస్ పాయింట్. ఇట్ విల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్, బట్ ఓన్లీ ఇన్ ద సినారియో ఇఫ్ ఎట్ ఆల్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎంటరింగ్ ద ట్రై బ్లాక్, okay. So don't think if at all, if I'm having 10 finally, all finally will execute. No, if at all, if it's corresponding try block lo enter aithe okavela control, then ikkada em jarigina kuda it will execute, okay. But as I said, okavela exception anedi ikkada ochindi, okay, exception anedi ikkada oste control anedi obvious ga దీని కరెస్పాండింగ్ పేరెంట్ కి వెళ్తుంది, ఎందుకంటే పేరెంట్ ప్రాబ్లం వచ్చినప్పుడు చైల్డ్ పట్టించుకోదు, ఓకే. చైల్డ్ ప్రాబ్లమ్ వస్తే పేరెంట్ పట్టించుకుంటుంది, కానీ పేరెంట్కే ప్రాబ్లం వచ్చింది అనుకో ఇక్కడ, సో ఆబ్వియస్లీ ఇట్ విల్ కమ్ అవుట్ ఆఫ్, ఇట్ విల్ చెక్ ఇట్స్ కరెస్పాండింగ్, బికాస్ ఈ స్టేట్మెంట్ దగ్గర ఉన్నప్పుడు పైథాన్ ఇంటర్ప్రిటర్ కి దాని తర్వాత స్టేట్మెంట్స్ ఏముందో దానికి తెలియదు, బికాస్ పైథాన్ ఇస్ లైన్ బై లైన్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తుంది కదా. సో ఇక్కడే ఇష్యూ వస్తే దాని తర్వాత స్టేట్మెంట్ 2 ఉంది, 3 ఉంది, దాని తర్వాత ట్రై ఉంది, ట్రై లోపల ఎక్సెప్ట్ ఉంది, ఇదంతా తెలియదు దానికి, ఓకే. డైరెక్ట్లీ ఇష్యూ వస్తుంది కాబట్టి దీని కరెస్పాండింగ్ ట్రై ఇది కాబట్టి దీని కరెస్పాండింగ్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ చెక్ చేస్తుంది, అక్కడికి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. సో ఇదంతా, సో అంటే ఈ ఇన్నర్ ట్రైలోకి ఎంటర్ కాలే, ఇన్నర్ ట్రైనే స్కిప్ చేసినప్పుడు దాని కరెస్పాండింగ్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ ఫైనల్ ఇదంతా దానికి తెలియదు. సో ఈ స్టేట్మెంట్ అనేది ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ కాదు, ఓకే. సో డోంట్ థింక్ దిస్ స్టేట్మెంట్ విల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ ఆల్వేస్. ఒకవేళ దీంట్లో ఎంటర్ అయితే ఇది ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతుంది, కానీ ఇక్కడ ఇష్యూస్ ఇక్కడ వస్తుంది కాబట్టి ఇది ఖచ్చితంగా ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతుంది, ఓకే. సో ఈస్ దిస్ క్లియర్ గైస్? అబ్సల్యూట్లీ క్లియర్?
Yeah, Santosh, there's a new one actually. I don't know earlier.
ఓకే, చెప్పు శిరీష.
ఒకసారి ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఎట్ వై ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయరా సార్?
ఎక్సెప్షన్
స్టేట్మెంట్
ఇక్కడ వచ్చానా? సి దేర్ ఆర్ ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వస్తే సింపుల్, అది అబ్నార్మల్ టర్మినేషనే. సి ఇక్కడికి ఎక్సెప్షన్ రావాలంటే ఏమేమి సినారియోస్ అది డిఫరెంట్, ఓకే. బట్ అజ్యూమ్ ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ రావాలంటే ఏమేమి వస్తుంది, ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వస్తే డైరెక్ట్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ ఇక్కడికి వస్తుంది. అగ్రి? మ్యాచ్ అయితే, ఒకవేళ మ్యాచ్ అయితే ఓకే, మ్యాచ్ కాకపోతే డైరెక్ట్ అబ్నార్మల్ ఇక్కడ ఇక్కడ ఇష్యూ వచ్చింది, స్టేట్మెంట్ 1 ఇష్యూ వచ్చింది, మ్యాచ్ కాలే, ఇది అబ్నార్మల్ టర్మినేషన్ సీదా. ఒకవేళ ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వచ్చింది, నువ్వు ఏది అడుగుతున్నావు శిరీష? ఇది మ్యాచ్ కావడం అడుగుతున్నావు, లేకుంటే మ్యాచ్ అయ్యి లోపలికి వచ్చిన తర్వాత ఎక్సెప్షన్, లేకుంటే మ్యాచే కాలేదా?
స్టేట్మెంట్స్ 1 2 3 మ్యాచ్. నో 1 2 3 దగ్గర ఏమి ఎర్రర్ లేదు సార్.
ఓకే,
ఇన్నర్ లో
ఏం
కూడా
ఎర్రర్
ఏమి
లేకపోతే ఇది ఎంటరే కాదు కదా. ఇక్కడ ఎర్రర్ వచ్చిందా?
అక్కడ కూడా ఎర్రర్ లేదు.
ఇక్కడ కూడా ఎర్రర్ లేదా? ఇక్కడ ఎర్రర్ లేదు, ఇక్కడ ఎర్రర్ లేదు, మళ్ళీ ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఎక్కడైతే?
ఓకే, అంటే ఇందాక ఒక అడిగినారు కదా సార్, ఎక్సెప్షన్ వై దగ్గర ఎర్రర్ వస్తే
ఎక్సెప్షన్, అదే ఎక్సెప్షన్ వైకి ఎర్రర్ ఎప్పుడు వస్తుంది అంటే, ఇక్కడికి రావాలంటే ఇక్కడన్నా 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 ఎర్రర్ రావాలి, అండ్ అది కరస్పాండింగ్ ఇక్కడ మ్యాచ్ కావాలి. అది వన్ సినారియో. లేదు లేదు, ఇదంతా పర్ఫెక్ట్ గా రన్ అయింది, కానీ ఇక్కడన్నా 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 ఎర్రర్ వచ్చింది, ఇక్కడ ఎర్రర్ వచ్చి అండ్ ఈ ఇన్నర్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్ కూడా ఫెయిల్ అయింది. ఓకే, ఎందుకంటే ఇక్కడ 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 4 5 6 ఎర్రర్ వస్తే ఫస్ట్ ఎవరు పట్టించుకుంటారు? ఈ ఇన్నర్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్ పట్టించుకుంటుంది. ఓకే, ఒకవేళ ఈ ఇన్నర్ ఎర్రర్ హ్యాండిల్ చేసేసింది అనుకో, అంతే, ఇది మళ్ళీ దీంట్లోకి ఎంటర్ కాదు, ఎందుకంటే ఎర్రర్ హ్యాండిల్ అయిపోయింది. ఒకవేళ ఇక్కడ ఎర్రర్ వచ్చింది, ఇక్కడ 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 ఇది కూడా ఫెయిల్ అయింది అనుకో, అప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది? అప్పుడు దీంట్లోకి ఎంటర్ అవుతుంది. క్లియర్? దీంట్లోకి ఎంటర్ అవుతుంది, అది ఫస్ట్ సినారియో. ఎంటర్ అయిన తర్వాత ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఎంటర్ అవుతుందా, ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఎంటర్ అవుతుందా అనేది వన్ థింగ్. ఓకే, దట్ కీప్ ఇట్ అసైడ్. ఒకవేళ ఇఫ్ యూర్ ఆస్కింగ్ ఎంటర్ అయిన తర్వాత ఇక్కడ ఒకవేళ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వస్తే, ఇట్ ఈస్ సింపుల్, నో నీడ్ టు థింక్ ఎనీథింగ్, సింపుల్ నార్మల్ టర్మినేషన్, దట్స్ ఇట్. క్లియర్? క్లియరా?
yes sir.
Okay, so actually we have some more things to cover. So Megan, you are not going to college right today? Okay, so we can continue for some time, right?
Yes sir, can continue.
Okay,
ఎంత టైం ఎక్స్టెండ్ చేస్తారు సార్? హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్ ఆర్ 1 అవర్?
so half an hour extend చేస్తా.
హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్? ఓకే,
ఉంటావా? You will.
yes సార్, ఉంటా.
Okay, so guys, do you want 5 minutes break? ఎందుకంటే కంటిన్యూస్ గా 1 అవర్ చేసినాం కదా. ఐఎమ్ ఓకే, బట్ నెక్స్ట్ మనం ఒక హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్, ఒక 30-35 మినిట్స్, ఎందుకంటే కంటిన్యూస్ చాలా ఈజీ కాన్సెప్టే ఉంటుంది. ఒకవేళ మనం అది ఇదే ఫ్లోలో కొట్టేసినాం అనుకో, యూ విల్ హ్యావ్ ద కంప్లీట్ పిక్చర్. మీరు వీకెండ్లో మీరు యూ కెన్ గో త్రూ సమ్ అదర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ ఆల్సో. సో ఐ డోంట్ వాంట్ టు అగైన్ పోస్ట్ పోన్, ఎందుకంటే మండే రోజు వీ కెన్ కవర్ న్యూ కాన్సెప్ట్. ఓకే, సో ఐ విల్ ట్రై టు టేక్ లైక్ మోర్ హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్, రైట్? సో డూ యూ వాంట్ లైక్ 5 minutes బ్రేక్? ఒక 5 minutes బ్రేక్ తీసుకుందామా, ఆర్ ఈజ్ ఇట్ ఫైన్?
Fine for me.
అదర్స్, మీరు ఆల్రెడీ బ్రేక్ తీసుకున్నారా ఏంది?
It's fine sir.
Fine, huh? Okay. So see, next we are going to see, so it is basic. So actually this is a, if you understand this, right, so that is good. So you understood like almost everything, just only 10% is pending. A 10% endante you have just one new concept that is called as else. Else అనేది ఒకటి కొత్తగా ఎంటర్ అవుతుంది. ఓకే, else block with try except finally. ఓకే, ఇది ఒక చిన్న కాన్సెప్ట్, దాని తర్వాత విల్ సీ సినారియోస్ అండ్ యూ విల్ అండర్స్టాండ్ ఇట్ ఇన్ బెటర్ వే. ఓకే, సో దిస్ ఈస్ వన్ థింగ్. ఓకే, విత్ ట్రై ఎక్సెప్ట్ ఫైనల్. ఓకే, సో ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే సింపుల్ కాన్సెప్ట్. ఓకే, జస్ట్ గివ్ 1 minute, లెట్ మీ డ్రింక్ సమ్ వాటర్. ఓకే, ఫైన్. సి, ఎల్స్ బ్లాక్ విత్ ట్రై ఎక్సెప్ట్ ఫైనల్లీ అంటే యూ కెన్ యూజ్ ఎల్స్ బ్లాక్ విత్ ట్రై ఎక్సెప్ట్ ఫైనల్లీ, బట్ ఒకటే ఒక సింపుల్ రూల్, అంటే చాలా సింపుల్ రూల్. ఎల్స్ బ్లాక్ will be executed if and only if there are no exceptions inside try block. Okay, so else block will be executed if and only if there are no exceptions. Okay, fine. So if I just show you, if I just want to show you the picture, so you have try, you have except, now you what you will have, you have else and finally. Okay, so observe carefully, ఈ else ఏం చేస్తుందంటే try లో you will write the actual code. It is usually called risky code. Risky code ఉంటుంది కదా, అది రాస్తాం. ఎక్సెప్ట్ లో ఇఫ్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వస్తే హ్యాండిల్ చేసి ఎక్సెప్షన్ కోడ్ రాస్తాం. ఓకే, ఫర్ ఆల్ యూ గెట్ ఎక్సెప్షన్. ఇఫ్ దేర్ ఆర్ నో ఎక్సెప్షన్, ఓకే, ఎల్స్ లో ఎప్పుడైతే ఇఫ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటెడ్ ఇఫ్ నో ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఇన్ ట్రై, నో ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఇన్ ట్రై, ట్రైలో ఏం ఎక్సెప్షన్ రాకుంటే ఓన్లీ దెన్ ఎల్స్ విల్ execute. Trial ఏమైనా ఎక్సెప్షన్ వస్తే it will not execute. It will go for except if it is matching, it will enter here. If it is not matching, then all that scenario we have seen. But exception వస్తే trial it will not enter the else. Finally low, it will execute either exception is raised or not raised. Same thing always. Finally is always. No rules for this. Okay. Theory I think, is this clear? I'll just repeat. Try ante actual code you will write. If at all there is an exception, then it will check the exception. If the exception is matching, it will enter. Okay, else will be triggering only if there is no exception inside the try. And if else laga, and don't get confused, but just if else laga consider say if you have also have try else. Okay, ikkada exception రాకపోతే, ఏం exception raise కాకపోతే, then it will enter else block. If an exception is raising, then it will not enter else block. Okay, whether it is getting handled or not handled, that's a scenario. Don't get confused with that. Okay, అది except చూసుకుంటది. ఎక్సెప్షన్ రేజ్ అయిన తర్వాత అది హ్యాండిల్ అవుతుందా కావట్లేదా, నార్మల్ టర్మినేషన్ అబ్నార్మల్ టర్మినేషన్, అదంతా ఈ ఎక్సెప్ట్ బాధ. ఓకే, బట్ ఎల్స్ ఏంటంటే ఎల్స్ కండిషన్ ఒకటే, ఇఫ్ అట్ ఆల్ దేర్ ఈస్ నో ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఇన్సైడ్ ట్రై, దెన్ ఐ విల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్. ఎల్స్ విల్ సే ఐ విల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్. ఓకే, ఫైనల్లీ అంటే ఐ డోంట్ కేర్ వాట్స్ హ్యాపెనింగ్. ఓకే, ఐ విల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ ఆల్వేస్. ఓకే, ఫైన్. సో now let's see if at all I am writing a try. Okay, simple example we'll see. I am trying, right? Okay, I'm saying print okay, I'm saying try. Okay, after that I'm printing some 10 by 0 for the exception. Okay, now I'm writing the except block. Okay, and I'm saying print except. Okay, and I'm saying else block. See, I'm using else block, sorry. Okay, print else. Okay, I'm saying finally. Okay, print finally. Okay, so ikkada first is the scenarios. See, first ikkada exception ochindi, so obviously if you get exception, then what you will get. See, initially if you don't get any exception, we'll see. I'm commenting out this, so no exception, first try. Okay, and then else block will execute if there are no exception anna kada. So ikkada exception ledhu kabatti try else finally. Agree? So we'll see. Try else finally. Okay, there are no exceptions. But if there is an exception, I am commenting out, I am uncommenting. Okay, so ikkada exception ochindi. Okay, then what it will go, it will go here and here. Okay, now try except finally. Else skip అయింది ఎందుకు, ఎక్సెప్షన్ రేజ్ దీంట్లో ఎక్సెప్షన్ రేజ్ అయితే స్కిప్. క్లియర్? సి, ఇందాక ఎక్సెప్షన్ రేజ్ అయింది అండ్ ఈ ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్ అనేది హ్యాండిల్ చేసింది. సో అప్పుడు నీకు ట్రై ఎక్సెప్ట్ ఫైనల్ వచ్చింది. ఈ సినారియోలో నీకు ఎక్సెప్ట్ రేజ్ అయింది కానీ ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్ అనేది హ్యాండిల్ చేయలే. అప్పుడు ఏమైంది, డైరెక్ట్ అబ్నార్మల్ టర్మినేషన్ అయింది కానీ దానికన్నా ముందు ఫైనల్ ట్రిగర్ అయింది. అది ఓకే. బట్ మెయిన్ థింగ్ మీరు చూడాల్సింది ఎల్స్ అనేది ట్రిగర్ కాలే. ఓకే. సో ఎక్సెప్షన్ అనేది ఇక్కడ రేజ్ అయిన తర్వాత ఈ ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్ అనేది హ్యాండిల్ చేసినా చేయకపోయినా దట్ ఈస్ నాట్ నెసరీ ఫర్ ఎల్స్. ఎల్స్ విల్ ఓన్లీ చెక్ ఇఫ్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఆర్ అకరింగ్ ఆర్ నాట్. ఇఫ్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఈస్ అకరింగ్ then it will diverse. I will not execute. Okay. If at all no exceptions, then it will execute. Okay. So in other words, you should understand ఈ except and else లో ఓన్లీ వన్ ఈస్ గెటింగ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటెడ్. ఎందుకంటే ఒకవేళ దీంట్లోకి ఎంటర్ అయింది అని అంటే, ఎక్సెప్ట్లోకి ఎంటర్ అయింది అంటే దాని అర్థం ఏంటి, ఎక్సెప్షన్ రైజ్ అయినట్టే కదా. ఎక్సెప్షన్ రైజ్ అయితే ఈ ఎల్స్ అనేది ట్రిగర్ కాదు. ఓకే. సో అప్పుడు ఇదే ట్రిగర్ అవుతుంది. ఒకవేళ ఎల్స్లోకి వచ్చింది అంటే దాని అర్థం ఏంటి, ఎల్స్లోకి వచ్చింది అంటే ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఏం రాలే అన్నట్టు. ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఏం రాకపోతే ఈ ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్లోకి వెళ్ళదు కదా. సో అప్పుడు ఇది ట్రిగర్ కాదు కదా. సో ఎయిదర్ ఎల్స్ అన్నా ఎక్సెప్ట్ అన్నా ఈ రెండిట్లో ఏదో ఒకటి ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతాయి. ఈజ్ దిస్ క్లియర్ గైస్? ఎవ్రీబడి, స్మాల్ ఎల్స్ కాన్సెప్ట్.
Yes, Santosh.
Any doubts, others?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So if it is that, then we will see some rules. Okay, these are few rules, and based upon that, we see some questions. Then you will become completely perfect with all the possible scenarios for the try except finally. Okay, ivi tappichi you don't need to go anywhere. Okay, see, we'll see some rules. Okay, these rules are very very important, guys. So if you don't understand these rules, but make sure you understand it clearly. Okay, see, first thing is, first and foremost, just give me a second. This guy is doing.
Akka?
Yeah. So see guys, somebody said Akka. Over. Everybody focus here. So start. I'm starting. You observe various possible combinations of try except else finally. Okay. So if you don't understand anything, let me know, because after that we have questions. Okay. See, first thing is, whenever we are writing try block, compulsory we should write except or finally block. Without except or try finally block, we cannot write try block. Okay. Simple. Try అనేది రాస్తే కంపల్సరీగా either you should have except or finally. Without that you cannot write try block. Clear? Okay. At each point I want you guys to be clear. Okay, I will show you. I'm writing try. Okay, I'm saying hey print hello, fine. If I execute, error, incomplete input it is saying. Okay, so that means what, whenever you're writing a try block, compulsory you should write except or finally. Rendu రాయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు, anything except or finally. Without except or finally you cannot write try block. Clear guys? So okay, నేను except రాస్తే okay, then it is fine. Okay, fine. So try block cannot exist independently. Clear? After that, okay, whenever we are writing except block, compulsory we should write try block. That means except without try is invalid. Okay, so whenever you are writing an except block, obviously you should have its corresponding try block. Try లేకుంటే ఎక్సెప్ట్ ఉండదు, ఎందుకంటే ఏం ఎక్సెప్ట్ చేస్తావు ట్రై అనేది లేకపోతే. Clear? So that means if you write only try, only except, then error. What is this? Aim check journey. So that is its scenario. Whenever you're writing finally block, compulsory you should write try block. That is finally without try is also invalid. Okay, so if you're writing finally, error. Now except, error. Okay, so for both of these there should be try. Okay, you can write multiple except blocks for the same try, but we cannot write multiple final blocks for the same try. Okay, for the same try you can have multiple except blocks. Okay, so you can say except, one more except. Okay, so that means what? So you can have, as we have seen, zero division. Okay, you can have type error. Okay, this is fine. Okay, but you cannot have multiple finally blocks. See, invalid syntax. Okay, so you cannot have multiple final blocks. Whenever we are writing else block, compulsory except block should be there. Okay, that means you cannot, without except, we cannot write else block. Okay, this is important. Whenever you are writing an else block, there should be always an except block. Without except you cannot write else. Okay, else and except and combination lo say. Okay, ikkada if you see, uh, if I'm having this, okay, this is running fine. So what is the point over here? When you're writing an else block, obviously you should have an except. Without except, else anedi undadu. Okay, so now if I comment this is fine. Okay, try except finally can exist because they're the actual scenario. But if I write this without except, so it is saying expected except or finally block. Okay, expected except or final block. Okay, so now you are not having anything. Okay, so I have a doubt actually. So if I write finally, will it work? Okay, no, this is also not work. Okay, so obviously you should have what? Except block for the else. Okay, else and except will have in always be in the combination. Okay, why? Because if it fails it will enter, if it is enter it will not enter here. Okay, one of this enter, so that's why this always should have in combination ante, again except can exist individually, but else will always exist in combination of except. Okay, fine. The try except finally order is important. Okay, you should always have try except else finally. Okay, if at all you are using, okay, see, observe carefully. If at all you are using all four, you are using try except else finally, only nalugu use cheste, then order is important. If you're using only few of them, then these rules. Okay, if I don't want to use else, then fine, you can have this. Okay, so we will see different combinations. Okay, we can define try except else finally inside try except else finally, that is nested of this is also possible. Okay, try except else finally is one thing. See, try except else finally, so this is a complete picture of exceptional handling. Okay, ఈ four తప్పించి మిగతా ఏమి ఉండవు. ఓకే, ఇదంతా ఒక సెట్. Again this complete set can exist as a nested inside this, inside this, inside this, inside this. Okay, nesting is also possible. Clear guys? Is the, what I said, is the problems clear? Everybody, come on everybody. Okay, okay, so looks like no doubts. Okay, very perfect, cool. So now we have seen that try except, sorry, try except else finally ఈ ఫోర్ ఒకవేళ మీరు యూజ్ చేస్తే, అన్ని యూజ్ చేస్తే ఆర్డర్ ఇస్ ఇంపార్టెంట్. If you don't want to use else, that's fine, these three can exist. If you don't want to use try, then everything will collapse, right? If try is not there, nothing is there. Okay, then you can have only try except, that's fine. You can have only try finally, that's fine, right? Try finally we can have, or anybody having any doubts? Try finally is possible.
Yes.
And coming back, so you can have, you cannot have only try and else, because else undalante you should have except definitely. Okay, you can have try except finally. You can have multiple excepts, but multiple finally not possible. Okay, and you can have except only with the else combination except undali, finally ki else undadu. Okay, so these are the different combinations. Okay, so is everybody clear guys? ఈ పాయింట్స్ లో ఏదైనా డౌట్ ఉంటే ఒక్కసారి అడగండి, or else we'll see some examples so that you will get good clarity. Everybody clear over here? Okay, great. So fine, so we are going to see few scenarios, so be alert guys, so that we can complete it as soon as possible. Okay, so fine, let me show you some questions. Okay, let's go with the question over. So guys, can you tell me, is the answer should be whether the syntax is correct or not. Okay, that's it. Okay, is one possible? Fast guys, everybody can unmute yourself. Okay, for next 5 minutes you can unmute yourself and be ready. So is one possible?
No.
No.
Okay, fine. Reason?
It should have either finally or except.
Okay, two possible?
No.
Okay, three possible?
No.
Okay, four possible?
No.
Okay, five possible?
Yes.
Yes.
Six possible?
No.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. See.
Any doubts on six, everyone?
Yes.
Doubts? Okay, tell me what's the doubt.
No doubt.
No.
Okay, so seven, for the seven, actually the seven is you'll get it in this. So seven is simply you have try except else. Seven is try except else. Okay, so see, seven is try is over here. Okay, and except else is over here. So is that possible? Yes or no? Try, inside try you have print, and except else.
Yes,
Possible.
sir. Possible.
Okay, so now let me go to this. Okay, fine. Is this clear or shall I zoom this? Are you able to see?
Yeah, we can. Little zoom. Yeah.
Okay, now 8.
No.
Why?
Else compulsory required except.
Okay, Sirisha 9.
No, sir.
Why?
Except block is required.
Okay, do you agree, Meghana?
Yeah.
Meghana 10. Hello, Meghana. Are you there, Meghana? Okay, Sirisha 10.
Yes, sir. Possible. Try with multiple except.
11. Meghana 11.
I think it's possible.
Possible? How? No, this is not possible because for one except there should be only one else. Okay, see, we'll see here. Is this possible? Else is possible? Is this possible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so but if I write multiple else, it will give an error. Okay, so for this is a pair, right? So this else is for this except. Now this else is for what? No. Okay, so fine. Now 12. Sorry, 10 after 10. Okay, 11 we have seen, right? Okay, 12. Anyone? 12?
Possible.
12? Okay, possible?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Wrong. Very wrong. Perfectly wrong.
Why, sir?
Why? After saying multiple ఇందాక రూల్స్ అంతా క్లియర్ గా చెప్పిన తర్వాత అగైన్ యూఆర్ ఆస్కింగ్ మీ వై. లెట్స్ సి. మేఘనా, ఇస్ దిస్ పాసిబుల్?
No, sir. For one try, we cannot write multiple finally.
Yeah, that's why. Understood, Sirisha?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So that's why I said always keep the rules in mind. Karthik, you're also saying yes. Is this possible, Karthik?
Possible.
Huh? Okay. 13? Sirisha, 13?
Possible, sir.
Okay. Now, just I'll ask you this scenario. Okay. Now, let's say you're having hello. Okay. Now, let me say this. Now, is this possible? Simple. Is this possible or not?
Possible, sir.
Correct.
Possible.
Now tell me. Now, what will be the output?
Indentation error.
Indentation? Where did I miss the indentation? This print is a separate statement. I don't want that to include in the try statement. Then how it will be indentation? Correct, right, Meghana? ఈ ప్రింట్ నేను సపరేట్ గా ప్రింట్ చేద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నా. రూల్ లేదు కదా అన్ని ప్రింట్స్ నేను ట్రైలోనే పెట్టాలని.
Yes, sir.
So now what will be the output? Try, hello, right?
Error.
Why?
Only try block నే తీసుకోదు కదా సార్.
కానీ ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్ట్ ఉందిగా. Correct, you are correct. You are correct, Meghana. Just because నేను ఏదో క్వశ్చన్ అడిగితే you should not stop.
అంటే ఆ ట్రై కి ఎక్సెప్ట్ కి లింక్ లేదు కదా.
Correct. Perfect.
కంటిన్యూషన్.
Super. That is perfect. So see guys, so if you are writing any statement inside between try and except, so ఇది continuation కాదు. Okay, so this try and except relation got broke here. Okay, so it will think this try is separate, this except is separate. So try cannot exist separately and except cannot exist separately, right? So if at all you have any statement between here, so then there is a break. Okay, fine. So that is what? That is 13th, right? So now in 14th, 14th will be, you have try, you have except, okay, and let me have multiple excepts. Okay, let me have multiple except. Okay, this fine. So now is this possible? Anyone? Karthik, is this possible?
Try.
Possible, right?
No, sir.
Why?
Error at sixth line.
Right. 7th line actually. Then 6th will, because this for this except there is no corresponding try block because you have a statement, right? Guys, others, are you understanding? See what is it? If at all you are having a separate, see this print is a standalone statement, right guys? I'm not putting inside this any try or except or anything. So this is separate statement. So this is fine. This is fine. So when you between this try and except there are no statements, then what it will think, okay, this try and except block is one. Okay, that's perfect. But after that you're writing some normal statement. Okay, that is also fine. But after that, what? I'm starting an except. This is a separate except and starting. But except single by alone it cannot exist, right? It should have a corresponding try. So because I'm not having try, that's why it is error. Is this clear, Karthik?
Yes, Santosh.
Now?
No, it's fine.
Now it's fine. Okay. Sirisha, are you following?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. So now, yeah. So let's see. 15 is 15 possible? Sirisha, 1 second. Karthik, let's see. Sirisha saying, yes, sir, I'm following, right? So is 15 possible?
Possible, sir.
Possible, right? Perfect. So that is 100% wrong. Meghana? Hmm?
Not possible. Finally is not
Finally.
with try.
Finally, we'll expect one try.
Right. Clearly, I'm saying that point only, right? So if you have a statement here, after that statement, again, it is not having any link between the before statement. So Sirisha, tell me how that is possible. Why you did not think that finally? No, tell me how finally can exist separately. Do you want to create any new try except finally or what?
I don't.
No, tell me where you are confused, where you are getting confused. That's fine. We'll try to understand.
Now I understood, sir.
అండర్స్టూడ్ రైట్ ఓకే సో ఆల్వేస్ సి ఒక న్యూ స్టేట్మెంట్ వచ్చింది అంటే దాని తర్వాత అనేది లింక్ లేదు, ఇది కంప్లీట్లీ న్యూ, రైట్? నేను అదే చెప్తున్నా, ఎక్సెప్ట్ లో వచ్చిన ఏది వచ్చినా కూడా ఇట్స్ కంప్లీట్లీ న్యూ. సో కంప్లీట్లీ న్యూ ఉన్నప్పుడు మళ్ళీ నువ్వు కన్సిడర్ చేయాలి, ఓకే ఇది సపరేట్ ఉంది కాబట్టి సింగిల్ ఫైనల్ ఎగ్జిస్ట్ అవుతుందా కాలేదు, సింగిల్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ ఎగ్జిస్ట్ అవుతుందా కాలేదు, సింగిల్ ట్రై కూడా కాదు, దానికి మళ్ళీ కాంబినేషన్ ఏదైనా ఉండాలి. ఓకే, సో మేక్ షూర్ యు ఆర్ ఫోకసింగ్ ఓవర్ హియర్. ఓకే, సో నౌ 16th Karthik, 16th.
16th, right? So try except.
Yeah, 16th.
It is also not possible. For else,
Not
we should have at least.
Oh,
For else, compulsory it should have except.
oh.
Okay.
Is Karthik saying correct or wrong? As a rule, huh?
Yeah, machine should have except, right?
Okay, we'll see what Sirisha says. Hmm? Will it execute or not?
Right.
Huh?
For else statement, it should have the try block.
Correct. So this for else statement కి ట్రై బ్లాక్ కాదు, if కూడా ఉండొచ్చు కదా. Now this else is else, right? So if at all, let's say you are having this, okay, you're saying else. Okay, if I print this error, agree? Now if I write this, is this agreed or not? Is this allowed or not? Meghana, is this allowed? Else
Sir,
and
it is allowed.
okay, fine. So else is for else you can have if also, right? We studied in the if concept. So else is not always with the except. So if you're having except after that followed by else, then that is except else. If you're having if else, then that is if else. Okay, so fine. So 17th one. So let's close this. 17th, Meghna, you tell me 17th if this possible.
Possible, sir.
Possible. 18th.
Possible.
19th.
Possible.
Okay, perfect. So and 20, in 20, just you see try is over here. See guys, I'm asking Meghna, but if others are having any issue, just stop me. Okay. So try is over here for 20 and the remaining is over here. Is this possible? See, try is here, over here. Come on, who wants to answer this? Anyone? Sirisha, Karthik, Meghana. 20. For 20, you are having try here. Okay. And over here. Okay. So just, okay. To this, except you are having try. That's it. Now tell me, is this possible? Fast, guys, fast.
Possible.
Why?
We have outer, I mean,
But you can print
inner
it.
try. Okay. How print? Okay, once. Still, that print comes under outer try, right?
Okay, perfect, correct. So it works. So 21, 21, fast, 21. So did others understood? See, this print is after it is not coming in between anything. So this try except finally is one bunch that is happening fine. After that, it is printing. It is not coming in between anything. Okay, and after that, it is try except. So that is fine, right? Is that the Meghana Sirisha? 20?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 21. 21, come on, let me know.
Possible.
Okay, perfect. So I hope others also understood 21. Okay, 22.
Yeah. Try except and again finally.
22.
Possible.
Okay, 23. Possible, right?
Try except and again.
Not
Try.
possible.
Correct.
Not possible.
24. 24, I think Siri will say. Siri, 24. Sirisha, you there or left? Okay, Meghana, you tell me. 24.
No,
Possible, sir.
not
Possible.
possible.
Sorry, I didn't get you. No, what was the answer?
Not
Not possible. Okay. The final one, Sirisha, can you answer this? Karthik, tell me.
Not possible. Order. It should follow order.
Okay, fine, fine. So that's all the different scenarios with the with what? With the try except else finally, right? So I hope you guys understood. So finally, today's class, so there is one small concept called as custom exception. Okay. So it's just 2 minutes concept. So now this is just an extension. Okay. So guys, can I expect that everybody is comfortable with like try except else finally?
Yes, sir.
All three of you, right? Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Perfect. So after that, you have just two things. Okay. Usually in Python, when it comes to exception, there are only two types of exceptions. Okay. One is predefined. Okay. One is predefined. Second thing is custom. Second thing is custom or user defined. Okay. Custom or user defined. This is also called user defined. Okay. There are two types. Now, what all we have seen till now are predefined. That means what? They're all predefined. So that means you have zero division, type error, name error, value error, base exception. So all these exceptions are, they're all predefined exceptions. Okay. But sometimes you don't want to follow that. Okay. You want to create a new exception. Okay. You don't want to go with that. Okay. See, these are all predefined exceptions, right? But sometimes you don't want to, you do not you don't want to, but you want to raise new exception. Okay. Because you think no, nothing is doing justice for you. Okay. So in that case, you can go for the custom exceptions. Okay. So now exceptions. Okay. So now, for example, let's see. So to write down any custom exception, right? So I'll just show you one example of custom exception. Okay. So that you will understand it. Okay. So you can write an custom exception. It is very simple. Okay. So based upon this, right, ఎందుకంటే మీరు ఏమన్నా ఒక ఏదైనా కోడ్ రాస్తున్నప్పుడు మీకు ఒక న్యూ టైప్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వస్తుంది. అంటే దట్ ఈస్ నాట్ లైక్ సింపుల్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ లైక్ ఇది జీరో కాదు టైప్, ఇది కాకుండా అకార్డింగ్ టు యువర్ ప్రాజెక్ట్, యువర్ వర్క్, యువర్ గెట్ న్యూ ఎక్సెప్షన్. అది హ్యాండిల్ చేయాలంటే యూ కెన్ రైట్ యువర్ ఓన్ ఎక్సెప్షన్. బికాస్ వై? బికాస్ in Python, as I said, everything is an object. Everything is an object. If everything is an object, that means everything should have some class, right? So what is the actual super class of this exception? Base exception or exception, you can take this, and using this exception you can create a subclass. If you create a subclass and use this exception using inheritance properties, we have seen inheritance, right? So create a subclass and just use this class exception, so it will inherit all the properties of this, and you can raise new exceptions. Simple. So we'll see that. Okay. For example, let's say you are working on a bike project. Okay. Small example. Bike project, and you want to raise an exception if the speed is increasing beyond a limit, and or if the speed is going too slow below a particular limit. Okay. So for that, you see what I'm doing. Okay. Try to understand this exception. First, I'm writing print. I want to take the input from the user. Okay. After that, if the bike is less than 10, if the speed is less than 10, okay, bike speed, I want to raise an exception. What exception I want to raise? I want to raise too fast exception. Okay. I want to raise, initially I'm raising a too fast exception. Now, what is this too fast exception? This is similarly like zero division error, zero division exception. This is also similar to that too fast exception, but there is no inbuilt too fast exception. There is no inbuilt too fast exception. You cannot find it here. So how did I write? I have created a too fast exception. See, I have created a class called too fast exception, and I am inheriting the properties of this exception. Okay. I want to inherit the properties of exception. You can inherit this also, but I'm inheriting the properties of exception. Okay. So this is inheritance, right? So once I do this, so all the properties of exception I will use here, and with that I am creating a new class called as subclass called as too fast exception, and inside that I am putting a constructor. Similarly, I am creating one more exception class. Okay, see, we are creating exception class. These are custom creation. What all already there are, these are all by default. So similarly, how we are creating these custom exceptions. Python developers who has written Python, they have written each exception for the zero division, floating, overflow, everything they have written. Similarly, if you also directly create an exception, you can just create a exception class. So this is how you are creating exception class. My exception is too fast exception, and this is exception class. I'm creating a too slow exception class. I'm creating. How I am linking to the actual exception? I'm just using this exception. This by using this, it will understand, okay, this should belong to exception class. Okay. So this I am created. So two classes are created. After that, I'm asking the input to take the input. And if at all is entering, if the speed is less than 10, I want to raise, okay, let me raise this as too slow exception. Okay, if the speed is greater than 100, let me raise it a too fast exception. Okay, so now let's see. So I am entering 50. Okay, now 50 is perfect speed. Okay, it is not less than 10 or greater than 100, so it is coming into else block. This is perfect speed. Okay, that is fine. But if it's going too slow, because see, on highway you should not go too slow. Okay, highway మీద మీరు 4 speed 5 speed మీద వెళ్తే it is danger for you and others. Agree? And మీరు చిన్న చిన్న గల్లీలో మీరు if you are going with the speed of 120 130, then also it's danger. So in some places you should go fast, in some places you should go very slow. Okay, so now if I'm going at, if the speed is less than 10, that means if I'm going at speed of 5, now see, now I'm raising, it is a raising an exception. See, I'm telling it, hey, raise an exception. If the speed is less than 10, raise an exception. So custom exceptions are very important, guys, because ఎందుకంటే you will write this, because usually గా మనకి simple exceptions రావు. Okay, this is but the concepts are same. What all we studied right from past 2 days, try, except else, everything is same. But exception అనేది ఒకవేళ సరిపోకపోతే, if you want to create custom, ఎందుకంటే ఈ జీరో డివిజన్, ఫ్లోటింగ్, ఇవన్నీ స్మాల్ స్మాల్ ఎక్సెప్షన్స్ విచ్ ఆర్ ప్రీ డిఫైన్డ్. ఓకే, యూ విల్ నాట్ face this. Okay, but if you want to create new exception as per your requirement, ఒక్కొక్క ప్రాజెక్ట్ ఒక్కొక్క రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఉంటుంది కదా, so always we will write new exceptions. Okay, even in my first project also, people were writing new exceptions. Okay, so how you can write? So first you can define a exception class, simple, using inheritance properties. After that, how you can raise? The raise keyword is important. Okay, you can raise an exception by using raise. So that's why it is in green color keyword, right? So if the speed is 10, I'm saying, hey, raise this exception. Okay, so and this should be a class. Okay, the moment it is saying slow exception, it will go and check, hey, is there any slow exception? Yes. Then I'm passing the argument. What argument I'm passing? Hey, are you driving too slow? You are driving too slow. That argument is going to over here. Okay, argument. Okay, and then it is raising an exception. It is raising an exception, as you can see. Okay, if I print here, as you can see, as you can clearly see here, the moment I said 5, speed is 5, which is less than 10, it is entering here. If it is entering here, it is raising too slow exception. Too slow exception, it will immediately check, hey, if there is any predefined too slow exception class, yes, it will go here, it will trigger here. This is a constructor, right? It will automatically run this, and here it is expecting one argument called as arg. I'm also passing this whole string is one argument. It is passing over here. So this self dot message will be arg. So I'm printing slow. So slow it is getting printing, but you are not handling the exception. You are raising the exception. Understand it very, very clearly, guys. You are raising the exception. Raising exception is one thing, handling exception is another thing. Okay, till now what all we have seen from past 2 days, that is handling the exception. What all different types you can handle, what are the different ways you can handle using try, except, else, finally. But we did not see how you can raise, because we already defined 10 by 0. It is by default it is raising. 10 by some int, by default it is raising. But if at all you want to raise a new exception as per your requirement, this is how you can raise based upon a condition. You can write any type of condition over here, and based upon that you can explicitly make the Python raise this exception. And you also wrote this corresponding. Okay, you are only raising, you are only writing, everything you are doing completely customized. Okay, but there should be corresponding. But if I have some other exception over here, now if I have 5, okay, so see, but okay, but if at all I write some, see, I'm writing here slow ww extra, I'm writing, and there is no ww, this is some other exception. So now if I run this, if I run 5, see, name too slow is not defined, I'm getting an error. So I'm saying, hey, raise name too slow with the www, but now it is saying too slow is not defined, because I did not define that exception class. Okay, so that's why it is getting error. So that's why you should, whatever exception you are writing raising over here, you should also write its corresponding except block. Okay, so now if I run this, if I give some speed as 7, so obviously it is entering over here, because its too slow exception is matching over here, and then it is raising this exception. What by raising exception, what I want to tell, that also you can write here. Okay, that you are writing, hey, too slow exception is raised, just like how you have seen. This is interesting, right? So just how predefined is happening 1 by 10 or 1 by 0. See how zero division is happening. You are literally, you are writing your own exception. See, too slow exception you are making similar to this. Okay, and this too slow exception, how this zero division error will come and trigger this zero division error exception. Now this too slow exception, whatever you're writing here, the same too slow exception you should have an inbuilt class that you are also custom writing in inbuilt class. Okay, and then you are printing this. Is this clear, guys? Let me know. Is this clear how you are writing the exception and linking the exception and triggering it? Everyone, is this clear?
Yes, Santosh.
Meghna?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Same thing goes for too fast. If I'm getting something greater than 100, right? 111. So obviously it is greater than 100. So I am raising. Okay. So as I'm repeating again and again, here we are raising. We are not handling. If at all there is a corresponding too fast exception, if it is matching, then it will trigger. It will come here. Okay. Only if you have a corresponding class exception, then only this will work, the raising will work. Okay, if you don't have this corresponding, this raise will also fail. Okay, but it is still what, here we are still raising, we are not handling. We'll check how you can handle your own exception. Okay, so if you're getting confused, you're only raising the exception here, your own custom exception you are raising. Okay, next we will see how you can handle your own exceptions. And handling we have already seen till now, all the try except finally, that is handling purpose. This is raising purpose. So now if you are raising your own exceptions, you can use the same handling techniques, that these are not going to change, try else finally. So this will work whether the exceptions are raised by you, custom exceptions or predefined exceptions, that's fine. But the concept which you need to understand here is how you are able to raise exception. Okay, so by using raise keyword you are raising, and then too fast exception you are having. So as I said, too fast, there should be corresponding too fast. Okay, because for example, if I'm saying too faster exception I am giving, and if I have 111, so it is saying too fast exception is not defined. So because I did not write too faster, I have only too fast. Okay, so you should raise using the raise keyword, and you should also have its corresponding class. Okay, you don't need to write anything inside this class, that's fine. At least, because even if you write, but if you inherit the actual base exception and put it aside, that's fine, it will understand, okay, this belongs to that class. Okay, but if at all you have only fast, then if you have 111, then fine, it is taking exception, it's going to this 240 exception, and it is saying, hey, you are driving too fast, it is saying. Okay, this is your raising. Okay, now this is still raising. Now we will see how we can raise our own exceptions. This concept is same, extremely simple. Okay, whatever you're writing over here, okay, this same thing you'll put it in the try block. Now you will get the whole scenario, right? This is how actually people will do coding. So first they will write what all they want to write, if else condition, whatever they want to write, they will write. Second thing, if at all they want to raise an exception, they will write simple, very simple, right? So whatever class you want, just create a class that name, and inherit the exception, that's fine. And give condition, whatever you want to write the condition, give that condition, just use the raise keyword. Okay, so you're taking the input, checking the condition, use the raise keyword, create the class, write the message. Elif, one more condition, raise, create another. Just make sure this exception what you are raising here, you have a corresponding class. This is fine. This is till raising only, it will only raise. If you don't raise, then directly you don't know what exception you are getting. Okay, it will end up with abnormal termination, but using this you can at least know to which raise it is going. If it is 10, it is raising this exception. If it is greater than 100, it is raising this exception. Okay, you are raising separately, independently. As a user, you are raising some exceptions. Okay, that is raising. Now to handle these exceptions, same thing, you can just handling the same concept which you have studied till now. Put everything inside the try. Okay, now consider this whole thing as one single code. Put everything inside try, and again you will have, you can write same concept, except you can write else finally, whatever you want to write, you can write everything. Okay, we will see over here. Okay, so now I'm putting the same code, if else. Okay, I'm putting if else over here inside the try block, and you are having except, you are having one more except. Okay, now see, now what I'm doing, I'm saying you raise this exception. Okay, you are raising this exception, and if at all this exception is raised, what is happening, this is, you are getting an exception inside the try block. Inside the try block, you are raising some exception. Earlier here, or here. Okay, if you don't have try block, see, if you don't have try block, observe it carefully. If you don't have any try block, if an exception is raised, I am having speed 0. So it is what it is. Is this, guys, can you tell me, is this normal termination or abnormal termination?
Abnormal.
abnormal, right? Because we are able to see the error. Okay, but at least what we have achieved raising the exception. That is clear. Now the next step is to handle our own exception. Now I'm putting the same thing over here, and I'm saying, hey, raise the exception. Now same thing inside. Once after entering try, same this too slow exception will also, if I give a value as 0 speed, it will speed is less than 0, it will enter this, it will raise this exception. Okay, the moment an exception is raised, what is the duty of try? To go and check if there is any corresponding except block. Okay, now you have corresponding the same too slow exception, you have the corresponding except block. Okay, now it will come and enter here without terminating abnormally. Okay, now if I give, let's say I'm giving speed of 5, see, so I gave speed 5, so it has entered inside this, it is raising this exception. Okay, before that, if there is no try except, it is just raising, that is fine, you are able to see, but it is ending abnormally. That is not what we design. Okay, so now our here we are raising the exception, we are only custom exception we are raising, and this exception, whatever you are getting this too slow, right? Whatever exception you are getting this too slow, with the same name, I am creating one except block. Just like if it is 0, it should be 0, right? 0 division. Similarly, this exception, I know if at all this exception is happening, I don't want this to terminate abnormally. Okay, that's why I'm passing this. The flow will get passed to this too slow. Inside that I'm writing slow exception this. But why this slow is getting triggered? This is getting triggered of this class. Inside the class also I have written something. Okay, but this is not required. Okay, you can just ignore that. Okay, but you should have some class defined, because if this is not written, there is no exception is happening. Okay, so because the moment when I'm, see, the link is this, just to make you understand, the link is what? To raise this exception, I need to write this too slow exception. ఇది రాయాలంటే దీని కరస్పాండింగ్ పైన క్లాస్ ఉంది కదా, అది ఉండాలి. ఓకే, క్లాస్లో మనం ఇది డిఫైన్ చేసినాము, అది ఉండాలి. అది ఉంటేనే ఇది ట్రిగర్ అవుతుంది. రైజ్ అనేది యూజ్ చేయాలంటే ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ అనేది ఉండాలి. ఐఎమ్ రైజింగ్ ఎక్సెప్షన్, పైన క్లాస్లో డిఫైన్ చేయాలి, దట్ ఈస్ ఫైన్. ఒకసారి రేజ్ అయిన తర్వాత దీని కరస్పాండింగ్ ఈ ట్రైలో ఉంది కాబట్టి, ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ వచ్చింది కాబట్టి, దీని కరస్పాండింగ్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్లోకి వెళ్ళాలి అంటే సేమ్ నేమ్తోని ఇక్కడ ఇది రేజ్ చేయాలి. ఎందుకంటే ఇది ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ రేజ్ కావడానికి పైన క్లాస్ అనేది యూజ్ అవుతుంది, ఎక్సెప్ట్ క్లాస్. ఒకసారి రేజ్ అయిన తర్వాత దాన్ని హ్యాండిల్ చేయడానికి ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్ అనేది యూజ్ అవుతుంది. సో యూ షుడ్ యూజ్ ద సేమ్ నేమ్ ఓవర్ హియర్ విత్ దిస్ టూ స్లో ఎక్సెప్షన్. ఇట్ విల్ కమ్ ఎంటర్ హియర్. ఈజ్ దిస్ క్లియర్ గైస్? Let me know if it is not clear. One person also let me know. We'll see. But is this clear? Any doubts?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So same thing goes for the fast also. So if I give you some 1 1 1, see. So I'm giving 1 1 1. So now it is checking. This is failing. So elif speed is greater than 100. Yes, it is entering. Now if it is entering too fast exception, so it should have some too fast exception. So it will come and check here. It will come and check here. Let me put it actually here, guys. I'm more comfortable because I wanted to see the whole scenario. Okay. Let me put it everything in one place. Okay. So I'm putting here. Okay. So I'm raising too fast exception. So first of all, to raise the exception, it is not handling. Okay. Don't get confused. Two things: raising, handling, two separate things. So first of all, we're just raising. We'll see the handling. To raise, first of all, it will think, hey, to raise, is there any exception class defined to raise? It will go and check here. Yeah, there is some exception class. Then it will raise. Once it is exception is raised, then because it is in try block, I want to handle it. Then it will check, hey, exception is raised. Can I handle this? To handle this, what? I should have a corresponding except block. Do I have any corresponding except block? Yes, I have corresponding except block. Then it will print fast exception. Clear? Clear, guys?
Yes, Santosh.
Yeah, so that's the actual concept. So just if I show you, ఒకసారి ఇచ్చేద్దాం. ఇక్కడ నేను ఫాస్ట్ బదులు ఐమ్ రైటింగ్ ఫాస్టింగ్ ఎక్సెప్షన్. సో ఇక్కడ ఏం కావాలి యాక్చువల్గా? ఎక్సెప్షన్ రేజ్ కావద్దు. అగ్రి? ఎందుకంటే దీని కరస్పాండింగ్ క్లాస్ నేను డిఫైన్ చేయలేదు. డూ యూ అగ్రి? See, there are two things, right? సో ఇక్కడ ఫస్ట్ అనేది ఎక్సెప్షన్ రేజ్ కావాలి. సెకండ్ థింగ్ అది దాన్ని హ్యాండిల్ చేయాలంటే దాని సెకండ్ థింగ్ ఇస్ హ్యాండ్లింగ్. ఓకే, ఎక్సెప్షన్ రేజ్ కావాలి అని అంటే దాని కరస్పాండింగ్ క్లాస్ అనేది ఇక్కడ డిఫైన్ చేసి ఉండాలి. కరస్పాండింగ్ క్లాస్ ఉండాలి. ఒకసారి రేజ్ అయిన తర్వాత హ్యాండిల్ కావాలంటే దాని కరెస్పాండింగ్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్ ఉండాలి. ఓకే, is this combination, are you getting guys? This is very important.
Yes, sir.
Yes sir, raise ఒకటి హ్యాండ్లింగ్ ఒకటి. రేజ్ కావాలి అంటే దానికి కరెస్పాండింగ్ క్లాస్ డిఫైన్ చేసి ఉండాలి. హ్యాండిల్ కావాలంటే దానికి కరెస్పాండింగ్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్ డిఫైన్ చేసి ఉండాలి. ఈ కాంబినేషన్ అనేది మీకు అర్థం కావాలి. ఓకే, ఫస్ట్ ఇక్కడ నేను రేజ్ చేద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నాను. ఇక్కడ ఏం చేద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నా, ఒకవేళ నేను వాల్యూ 111 ఇస్తా. సో ఇక్కడికి వస్తుంది. ఇక్కడికి వచ్చిన తర్వాత ఐ వాంట్ టు రేజ్ దిస్. ఇక్కడ రేజ్ చేయాలంటే ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ దీని కరెస్పాండింగ్ క్లాస్ ఉండాలి కదా. దీని క్లాస్ ఉందా, క్లాస్ లేదు. అప్పుడు ఏమైతే చూద్దాం. ఓకే, ఐఎమ్ ఎంటరింగ్ 111. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ సెయింగ్ నేమ్ ఎర్రర్, నో టూ ఫాస్టింగ్ ఇస్ డిఫైన్డ్. సో ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ రేజే కాలే నీకు ఎక్సెప్షన్. దిస్ ఇస్ నాట్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ రేజింగ్, ఇట్ ఈస్ గివింగ్ యూ నేమ్ ఎర్రర్. ఓకే, ఎక్సెప్షన్ అనేది రేజ్ కావట్లేదు, ఎందుకంటే టూ ఫాస్టింగ్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఇస్ నాట్ డిఫైన్. టూ ఫాస్టింగ్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ అనేది డిఫైనే కాలే అంటుంది. క్లియర్? సో ఒకవేళ నేను సేమ్ టూ ఫాస్ట్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఇచ్చాను అనుకో, సేమ్ టూ ఫాస్ట్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఐఎమ్ గివింగ్ ఓవర్ హియర్. ఓకే, సో దెన్ ఇట్ విల్ రేజ్ ఎక్సెప్షన్. కానీ నేను ఏం చేస్తున్నా, రేజ్ అయిన తర్వాత టు హ్యాండిల్ ద ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఇట్ విల్ గో ఇన్ టు ఇట్స్ కరెస్పాండింగ్ టూ ఫాస్ట్ ఎక్సెప్షన్. ఇక్కడ నేను చేంజ్ చేస్తా, టూ ఫాస్టర్ అని ఇస్తా. ఓకే, నౌ వాట్, నౌ సి ఐఎమ్ గివింగ్ 111. సి ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ రేజ్ అయింది. దిస్ ఇస్ వెరీ ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్. యూ సీ 111 వచ్చింది. వచ్చిన తర్వాత ఎక్సెప్షన్ అనేది రేజ్ కావాలి. రేజ్ కావాలంటే ఏం కావాలి, నీ కరెస్పాండింగ్ క్లాస్ అనేది కావాలి. ఓకే, రేజ్ కావాలంటే జస్ట్ యూనిట్ కరెస్పాండింగ్ క్లాస్. సో డూ యూ హ్యావ్ కరెస్పాండింగ్ క్లాస్ టూ ఫాస్ట్ ఎక్సెప్షన్? ఎస్, యూ హ్యావ్ టూ ఫాస్ట్ ఎక్సెప్షన్. సో ఎక్సెప్షన్ అనేది రేజ్ అవుతుంది. ఇంతకుముందు సినారియోలో ఎక్సెప్షన్ రేజ్ కాలే, బట్ ఇక్కడ ఎక్సెప్షన్ అనేది రేజ్ అయింది. హౌ? సి ఇట్ ఈస్ రేజింగ్ టూ ఫాస్ట్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ అనేది రేజ్ అయ్యి ఇట్ ఈస్ ప్రింటింగ్ హే యూ ఆర్ డ్రైవింగ్ టూ ఫాస్ట్. ఓకే, దట్ ఈస్ రేజింగ్. సో యూ ఆర్ సక్సెస్ఫుల్ ఇన్ రేజింగ్. నౌ కమింగ్ టు హ్యాండ్లింగ్. హ్యాండ్లింగ్ కావాలంటే ఏం కావాలి, రేజ్ అయింది కాబట్టి ఇట్ విల్ సి whether you have a corresponding except block for this too fast exception. Do you have corresponding except block? This is not too fast, this is also not too fast, this is too faster. So appudu emaitadi, appudu it is saying name error, too faster exception is not defined. Okay, too faster exception is not defined, so it is not having any corresponding except block only. So that's why it will what it will do, it will not handling. So that's why you are seeing the abnormal termination anedi jarugutundi. Okay, it's not entering this, it is not entering this. Is that clear guys? See, ఒకవేళ నేను డిఫాల్ట్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ రాస్తే సో ఎక్సెప్షన్ అనేది ఇక్కడ రేజ్ అయ్యి ఇట్ ఈస్ కమింగ్ హియర్ అండ్ చెకింగ్ దిస్. ఓకే, దిస్ ఈజ్ నాట్ ఎ టూ, ఇక్కడ మనకి టూ ఫాస్ట్ కావాలి. ఓకే, ఇక్కడ ఒక ఎక్సెప్షన్ అనేది రేజ్ అయింది. ఓకే, if you have this too fast exception then fine, otherwise it will go into default kada. So it is coming into default and it is printing fast exception. Guys, is this clear or did you get confused at any point?
It's clear for me.
Perfect. So the only thing scenario is you need to understand, this is the whole picture guys, this is the complete picture of exception. So how we are, first we have seen the basic handling of exception, that is clear. After that ఇక్కడ మనమే కస్టమ్గా ఇలా రేజ్ చేయొచ్చు. రేజ్ చేయాలంటే మన క్లాస్ ఉండాలి. దాని తర్వాత దాన్ని హ్యాండిల్ చేయాలంటే దాని కరెస్పాండింగ్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ క్లాస్ ఉండాలి. సో ఇక్కడ రేజ్ అయిన తర్వాత ఒకవేళ కరెస్పాండింగ్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ బ్లాక్ ఉంటే ఇట్ విల్ గో అండ్ ట్రిగర్ దట్. ఒకవేళ లేకపోతే ఇట్ విల్ గో ఇంటూ డిఫాల్ట్. ఒకవేళ డిఫాల్ట్ కూడా లేకపోతే దట్ విల్ గివ్ ఎర్రర్. ఒకవేళ ఈ కరెస్పాండింగ్ క్లాస్ అనేది ఇక్కడ డిఫైన్ చేయలేదు అనుకో, పైన ఈ క్లాస్ లో దీనికి ఎక్సెప్షన్ డిఫైన్ చేయకపోతే ఇట్ నాట్ రేజ్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఇట్సెల్ఫ్. ఓకే, so that's the concept I want to make you guys clear. So this is how actually you write. So when you are writing the some code in your project, right, after you get a job, so same thing you will write. So manaki ekkado odara condition kavalanipisti ikkada rase endante, so ikkada, so if you have everything perfect, so let me yeah, so what I want to show here is, so the main concept is manam first asalu exception start chesinappudu mana fundamental goal em unde, the flow should not break. Okay, so that we are able to achieve. See, 0 ichina it is not breaking, it is going to this exception. మనకి 100 ఇస్తే it is saying perfect speed, 200 ఇస్తే you are having fast exception. Okay, so every time it's not that we are not getting errors, we are getting ఇక్కడ మనకి ఎర్రర్ వచ్చింది, but the flow is not breaking. That is very very important to achieve. ఫ్లో అనేది ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఏది ఇచ్చినా కూడా ఫ్లో అనేది బ్రేక్ కాదు. మీరు ఇఫ్ యూ ఎనీథింగ్, మీరు -10 ఇచ్చినా it will not break, -100 +2000 ఇచ్చినా it will not break. ఓకే, సో ద బ్రేక్, సో మనకి ఎండ్ టు ఎండ్ అనేది పైప్ లైన్ అనేది పర్ఫెక్ట్ గా రన్ అవుతుంది. ఎండ్ టు ఎండ్ పైప్ లైన్ అనేది ఎక్కడ బ్రేక్ కాదు. సో బట్ మీకు ఎక్సెప్షన్స్ రేజ్ అవుతాయి. సో ఈ ఎక్సెప్షన్స్ అనేది రేజ్ అవుతుంది. సో ఇక్కడ నీకు బ్రేక్ కాలేంత మాత్రం ఇట్స్ నాట్ పర్ఫెక్ట్. సో మనకి ఇక్కడ మనం చెక్ చేస్తే ఫాస్టర్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ అనేది రేజ్ అయింది. దెన్ యూ విల్ గో ఇన్ టు ద కరస్పాండింగ్ బ్లాక్. హే వాట్ హ్యాపెన్? ఓకే, ఇట్ హాస్ ఎంటర్డ్ దిస్ ఫాస్టర్ ఎక్సెప్షన్. ఈ ఫాస్ట్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఇక్కడ ట్రిగర్ అవుతుంది, ఇది ఇక్కడ ట్రిగర్ అవుతుంది. అంటే ఏమైంది? ఇక్కడ వాల్యూ అనేది గ్రేటర్ దెన్ 100. దెన్ యూ విల్ గో అండ్ ఫిక్స్ దట్. Okay, that's how you will backtrack. But the main thing, what the goal we have started the exception concept is to make sure that the flow is not breaking, and we have achieved that. Okay, so that is very very important. So this is very interesting. So you can take a small use case, mirror this coach condition randi, then if else lo vettandi, try except lo use cheyandi. You can write your own custom exceptions, anything you want. You can handle those. You can now use ఎక్సెప్ట్, ఫైనల్లీ ట్రై, ఎక్సెప్ట్, ఎల్స్, ఇవన్నీ యూజ్ చేయొచ్చు. హ్యాండ్లింగ్ అనేది సేమ్. ఈ హ్యాండ్లింగ్ అనేది ఏదైతే నేర్చుకున్నామో దట్ విల్ బి సేమ్ అక్రాస్ ఎనీథింగ్. ఈ రేజింగ్ అనేది ఏదైతే ఉందో యూ కెన్ రేజ్ యాజ్ పర్ యువర్ విష్. అండ్ రేజ్ చేసిన తర్వాత మీకు కావాలంటే యూ కెన్ రైట్ యువర్ కస్టమ్ ఎక్సెప్షన్స్ ఆల్సో. ఓకే, దట్స్ ద హోల్ కంప్లీట్ పిక్చర్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ థింగ్. ఓకే, జస్ట్ వన్ సింగిల్ పాయింట్ you should always remember is raise the keyword whatever you are raising, right? That is suitable for only custom exceptions, not for predefined exceptions. Okay, predefined exceptions ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో like 1/0, 1/int, 1/10, ఇవన్నీ predefined exceptions. ఓకే, దానికి మనం సపరేట్ గా రేజ్ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు, అవి ఆటోమేటిక్ గా రేజ్ అవుతాయి. ఓకే, నువ్వు ఏం చెప్పాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. అది 1/10 ఇస్తే నువ్వు వద్దన్న రేజ్ అవుతుంది, రేజ్ కమ్మన్న రేజ్ అవుతుంది. ఓకే, బట్ ఇట్లాంటిది సేఫ్ బైక్ లెస్ దెన్ 10 ఉంటే ఇది న్యూ తనకు తెలియదు కాబట్టి యూ షుడ్ కస్టమైజ్ దట్ అండ్ రేజ్ ఇట్. ఓకే, సో దట్స్ వై రేజ్ keyword is suitable for customized exception. These are customized, but for predefined it's not required. It will directly raise. Okay, so that's the whole scenario of whole story of try exception handling and exception raising. Okay, so we have trained raising and handling. Okay, just like a child, right? So we should also raise a child and we should also handle it. Okay, so that the flow is perfect. So without any break it will go. Okay, so that's the concept, guys. So let me know if you have any doubts, or I hope you understood most of the concept, right? Be honest, right, guys? You understood, right? So most of the concept we discussed in the exception.
Yes sir, understood.
Okay, perfect. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining and extending. Okay, so I hope we are good with the exception, and over the weekend you can go through some examples if you want. I will also try to send something. Okay, but perfect. So on Monday's class we'll start with the decorator and we'll start with the file handling, decorator, iterator, generator, and then we have something pickling. Okay, if there are any other concepts we'll try to discuss. Okay, so next weekend so we'll try to wrap up the Python and we'll start the stats. Okay, fine, so far so good. Thanks guys, thank you so much. Okay, take care, we'll meet on Monday. Chalo, bye.
Thank you sir.
Okay.